Are you creating chaos or clarity in the goals that you have? Because most of us think that we are clear, have an amazing plan, and we're marching towards it. But we actually end up creating chaos on the way there, trying to do too much because we want that goal to happen so badly. We make it worse. We make it more chaotic and potentially push it to take even more time, or God forbid, get completely burned out and not even want to do it anymore. That happens. And I'm going to share with you, a big goal that I had that I recently was so clear on. As clear as a guy could be, crystal clear, because I'm the clarity guy. And I drove that thing into absolute chaos. Drove it into chaos to where I had to stop. I had to completely stop. And it's embarrassing for me to have to even share this with you. But at the end of this episode, I'm going to share it with you. Because it happens to me, someone who, lives life so highly intentional, has, a goal for all aspects of life, has so many different things that I measure, and I'm constantly growing and evolving into a higher version of myself that I can quantify in so many different ways. Have so many big goals that I want to achieve continuously. And I still find myself driving big ideas and big goals into chaos. And it's this fine line, because you got to think about everything that you ever want to do in life. Any goal, it's the same structure, right? You always got to start at the end. What am I hoping to achieve? What is the purpose for this in my entire life? And how is it going to ultimately lead me to a better version of my life and a better version of me? And what is the strategy and the stuff that I've got to implement to get there? And then you head off on the journey to get there, and as it's happening, all these different things begin to reveal themselves, and you start, questioning the strategy that you created, and now you want to add another thing to it, like, well, maybe it's this, and then boom, everything's in complete chaos. And then now you're trying to figure out, what is the chaos? Is the chaos the original strategy that you were sure of, or is it the new thing that you implemented? And I think this happens, so much in business. And it's happened to me, so many different times throughout the process of creating companies. When you launch with your product that you really think is going to be the white space and the opportunity and understanding the market, and this is what's missing, and we're going to deliver in this product, and then you get there and nobody buys it. And rather than focusing on how to optimize further and understanding the customer and figure out how you can drive conversion, you just start thinking about, what other product could we possibly make? If you launch a product and it doesn't sell, and the first thing that you think you should do is make another product, boy, you've welcome to chaos. Welcome to chaos. And I've done it so many times because you just really don't know, and you, when you define and create a goal that's so clear to you in the beginning and it gets murky, you do have to be adaptive. You do have to sometimes pivot on a product, in the case of Outstanding Foods, the pigless bacon chip was a little bit too innovative, having supply chain issues. It was tough to produce, tough to, convince the plant-based consumer that, hey, this is a mushroom that tastes like bacon. It was confusing, and the pivot immediately into the pigless pork rind really saved the business and blew it up. It's one of those cases where it really, really mattered, and it saved the business, and it was the right decision. But so often, so many different cases in so many different companies where it doesn't. It just basically creates an even more murkier, chaotic situation. And it's that way with anything that you do in life. When you set a goal, and you begin to push towards that goal, and you want to accelerate that goal, or something's not working and you add another piece to it, you've just created more work, more time, more chaos. And if it doesn't work, man, it begins to rattle the foundation of everything. Because and you also know when you add something to a goal to accelerate it, or if you create some sort of new aspect of that you want to introduce into achieving something, it has the right feeling when it's the right thing. When it's the right idea, like, man, it's you understand it and completely know why you're doing it. Right? If it's going to bring clarity, further clarity, and help accelerate you towards that goal, man, you understand it. You understand it. Like if it's you introduce something new and it's working, boy, it's motivating you. It's motivating you because clarity, when it's actually working and you're introducing things that make sense towards where you're headed, man, there's a feeling to it. There's energy to it. There's hopefulness to it. And the other thing about really having clarity in a goal is where the nuance in where you can be adaptive that's still going to lead you towards it versus what it feels like when you enter into that chaotic zone. When you add a new element, what does chaos feel? Like we're going to add something, new that's going to help this whole project. And then all of a sudden, like things start to feel inconsistent. It's the discipline starts to slip. The continuity in the whole starts to change. Like all of these things make it clear to you that, man, I've just entered into a world where things aren't what I expected them to be. And again, it's we all do it. We all do it because, even the best plans, they're sort of living, goals are living. They're revealing themselves and showing themselves as you move into it and as you push forward, versus like very rarely will you define an amazing plan and then it will work perfectly, but it does. People say, "Oh, it never works perfectly." No, it does. Sometimes you can create a plan that you completely understand in a world you completely understand, and you can create, the outcome you desired and envisioned in the very beginning swiftly and quickly because you understand all the variables, and then nothing came in that disrupted it. That does happen. There is hope for the world for everybody that just thinks like, no plans ever actually go according to plan. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they go better than you expected. And boy, oh boy, is that a gift from the universe. It is possible. But when you push forward into something and you don't fully understand it and things start to not reveal themselves to be working and things begin to feel chaotic and things don't feel like they're progressing, and then you add on a new thing. You interject something new that you think's going to help accelerate or change the whole. You have to be absolute certain that is bringing a higher level clarity to you actually achieving it rather than creating the chaos. And again, it'll always be how you feel. It'll always be about how you feel. And goals and anything big always reveals itself in time. And part of, gathering the insight of how it's revealing itself and guiding you towards what you should really be doing will always be dictated by how it feels. And so often, even for me, I will, build a strategy that I believe in, knowing that, hey, I believe this is the best path forward. I believe this is possible because anything, especially if you're, building a company, a big idea, creating different, types of things, there's still this unknown that has to show it to you as you begin to create it. That's part of the process, and when it begins to, reveal itself that it's not quite working the way you had envisioned it, you come to a crossroad. You come to a crossroad and you have got to like sit at that crossroad and spend a lot of time getting very clear on what the right decision is, so that you move forward with a higher probability of creating the progress to move towards that goal, rather than just going for it, not being clear and just hoping it works, and then boom, you're just creating absolute chaos. And there you have it. All you did was create chaos instead of clarity in the goal that you hope to achieve, thus pushing that goal away further and further from possibly realizing it. And it's interesting because you don't know when you're faced with it. And it is a process where you've got to be very truthful with yourself, because we're super good at lying to ourselves about goals in the beginning. We will set an unrealistic goal that we're super optimistic about. We'll build a strategy that we are confident is possible, even though we don't fully understand it. We know we'll figure it out when we get there. We always have. And then you take off on the journey and it's not working, but we got the drive and the wherewithal to push it forward. And we just add new things to it to make it happen. And then boom, we are in absolute no man's land, and we tip right off the edge into losing belief. And we know what happens when we lose belief. We quit. There's no person on this earth that still believes in the goal that they're hoping to achieve and just quits. It's never happened. The only time any person would ever quit a goal is when they lose belief. And more often than not, they had a strategy that was not clear. And as things got murky and started to fall apart, rather than take the time to get clear and realign and push forward, they just start throwing things that they think might work just to be pushing it forward, and then boom, everything is in absolute chaos, and then eventually the belief is gone, and that's when you quit. And again, sometimes some people should quit. I've said it a million times. Like, if you created a strategy and it did not work, and you've tried a million different things and it just gets worse and worse and you're not making progress, don't lie to yourself. It didn't work. Take what you've learned, look towards something that you believe you have a better possibility of doing, and jump in and do it. But the truth is it's a little bit of art, science, and magic, as we say down here, because you've got to recognize when a goal is not, you've got to recognize when the strategy that you've created for the goal that you hope to achieve is not working, and you've got to be able to make adjustments. But you have to make sure that the adjustments that you make lead to having a clearer understanding of where you need to go, not just adding chaos to the whole process. And it's something that you've got to develop and be incredibly sensitive to. And I do it in all aspects of my life, and I still lose it. And recently, I've been, into like super health. I had this year of just being 100% dedicated to all aspects of my health. And now, the vision of living 1,000,000 hours of life. And now I'm pushing into the longevity plan. I got my clear goal. I'm living 1,000,000 hours. Like, now I need someone to help me push my overall longevity program to the next level. I hired a consultant. And then literally, rather than incrementally begin to build a program and put it in place to play the long game of continually evolving my knowledge of my body and mind to grow the strength and the longevity in the overall system, I try to just do everything at once. Every single thing that there is on earth that I could possibly do to try to push my longevity out in like a 3-month period. How can I do everything? Give me brain scans, body scans, give me hyperbaric, give me the injections, give me everything you got, every pill, load me up. I went full Brian Johnson. who's the tech guy who's, spending $1 million a year, who's got the heart of a 14-year-old, got the lung capacity of a, like a super stout bull. I went full Brian Johnson, and I just literally drove absolute chaos into my health and wellness program, where I had to stop it all and go back to my more basic structure. And now the new plan is I have to implement each one of these things slowly over the next year. And that's just an example of somebody who's already so organized, so intentional, who has a clear goal, clear plan, clear strategy. And I just overdid it and sent myself into chaos to the point where I had to stop and regroup. So even someone like me who's there and lives it at the highest level still finds themselves, driving chaos into their big goals and the things that they hope to achieve. So I say to you, everything that you ever want to do, as you're doing it, and as you're looking at ways to potentially accelerate it or change it, take the time to get deeply clear on what you want to do, how it's going to affect the whole, and what you actually can do in order to lead you towards getting that energy and that progression back towards that goal, rather than just dive in hoping this solution or this change is going to be the difference that accelerates everything, and finding yourself in chaos. Because you don't want to be in chaos. You want to just be in absolute harmony. And you know what it is. You always got to have a vision. You always got to be willing to create the plan to make sure you can even get there. Then you got to put in the work to get there. Until next time, see it, believe it, do it.